Hi everybody, this is Julie Falen coming to you. I was going to be talking to you about Julie Talks Money. I did a video a while ago on a radio show on Be Prepared 2020. That was along with America Saves 2020, which I'm still partnering with, and it's still a great thing. That was part of the being prepared. But now I'm going to talk about being prepared during the coronavirus. None of us ever dreamed that we would be having something like this happening to us right now in our lifetime. And certainly when I did the Be Prepared 2020 videos, I really was not talking about this. I was just talking about being prepared for your financial life from this point forward, especially because we're looking at maybe some market correction or some recession, definitely in real estate. Again, didn't expect this really in the stock market and everything else that we're seeing here. So I'm going to go through some notes that I've made of how we've changed things, and I'm hoping that this will be able to help you weather the storm, so to speak, get through all the stuff with coronavirus that you have, because one of the really key things is cash flow. And most of us right now are not having money coming in, right? We're not having a job to go to unless it's part of the essential services. Restaurant workers, retail workers, all kinds of service industries, not having paychecks, not going to work. There's a whole lot of construction workers that are off too, even though the government has dictated that some elements of construction are essential, like plumbing. Absolutely, we have to have plumbers still working, and electricians, because power can go out. Right now in Los Angeles, we're having lots and lots of rain, so definitely we're having some need maybe for some plumbers. And there's not a whole lot of other people, you know, maybe cooks and chefs because they're doing carry-out at their restaurants. But for the most part, people are not working. And that's the main thing. How do you get through this if you're not working? You don't have income coming in. You don't have regular paychecks and steady money. So I'm going to do this, and I hope that this will help you. So this, one of the things that I'm talking to, first of all, if you're a W-2 employee, if you can get a hold of a copy of your benefit statement from your employer, you want to see what your package is. Now, it may seem strange to do this if you're not at work, you don't have contact with the Human Resources Department, but there might actually be somebody that you can talk to who is answering a phone or working from home and having something go through. So if you can get a hold of your benefits package, I highly recommend that you do that, especially if you work for a larger or a mid-sized company. You know, this is probably not going to be the case if you work for a nonprofit or if you work for a small mom and pop shop or a restaurant. But if you work for, let's say, a law firm, a chain restaurant, definitely. If you work for Amazon, as an example, or a large company like General Motors and General Mills, you know, a startup, a studio, definitely you should be able to get some kind of a benefits package that you will look at and find out, number one, is your employer still going to maintain paying your insurance? Believe it or not, you probably have a life insurance policy that goes along with your job. Most people forget about that, but large companies and mid-sized companies generally have a life insurance policy on each of their employees up to $50,000. And that's essentially kind of a death benefit, but you want to make sure that that is still being paid by your employer, even if you're not paying for it. Hi, Jean. Let's see you. So you want to make sure that they're paying insurance. Now, question is, are you laid off or are you furloughed? There's two different things here. One of them means if you're laid off, you're not expecting to go back to work. Basically, it's going to be however long this is going to take. You are considered unemployed. Now, if you are furloughed, instead, that means that the employer has put you kind of like on a temporary suspension. And if you are on that temporary suspension, that means that they fully intend to bring you back to work when this hiatus is over, when the self-quarantining and all the other stuff that we're going through. If you don't have health insurance because you've been laid off, then you need to find out if you are qualified for COBRA. COBRA is a policy, or it's an insurance that's available to people who are not working and have been laid off by their employer. Generally, furloughed employees are not going to qualify for COBRA. COBRA, you know, is kind of expensive, but it actually will keep your health insurance going, and that's something else that you should look at with your employer. Are they paying your health insurance? Because, you know, that can be really key right now, right? Do you have health insurance going as we go through coronavirus? Because we don't know who's going to be affected. Don't know if you're going to be affected, right? You don't know if anybody in your family who might be covered is going to be affected. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some insurance companies and what they're doing later on in this video. But anyway, find out, are your health insurance, is that still being paid for? Is the life insurance policy still being paid for? I'll get to that also in a minute. But also, if you qualify for COBRA, then either get on that as soon as you possibly can, apply for COBRA, and I believe you can go Google COBRA, and this is going to be something that you'll go look at your state too. So go to COBRA, Illinois, COBRA, California, COBRA, Colorado, wherever it is that you are, and check that out and see if you can apply and see if you can pay the premiums. Now, if you live in a state that has some of the exchanges under the Obamacare Affordable Care Act exchanges, in California we have Covered California, normally they have closed your enrollment period, the possibility of enrolling in that exchange, back February 1st. However, and this is one of the key things, it states very clearly, if your income changes or your employment changes or your marital status changes, you are eligible and able to apply for health insurance on those exchanges anytime during the year. And you don't have to do it in that small compressed enrollment period that Uncovered California is between November and February. So check that out with your state. I have a list of the states, and I can send that. But I know that California, Illinois, Maryland, I think Michigan too, are among the states that have the exchanges where you can do that. I think there's about 15 states total, maybe 20. So that is one of the key things that you want to do to survive during this time of the pandemic, where you are not sure about your health, what's going to happen with it, and you want to make sure that you are prepared, right, and covered. So I urge you really strongly, either get on COBRA insurance or get onto your state's exchange if you can. But you can also go look at some other health insurance companies, because right now they are relaxing some of their guidelines and restrictions. You can apply, whether it's HealthNet or Kaiser or Blue Shield, Blue Cross, some of those. Definitely look at those and apply if you can. And the really neat thing about this is that most of the health insurance companies are waiving any deductibles or some treatment cost if you do in fact come down with COVID-19. So that's really an amazing benefit. But I'm going to go back to your employer now, and I want you, when you're still talking to that person who is the benefits administrator at your company, check on your 401k. Now, you should have a 401k that you're contributing to. You could have a self-directed or some other kind of IRA or Roth IRA of yourself, but most companies are going to offer you some sort of retirement plan, and a 401k, whether they do a match or not, is not pertinent right now. But if they're doing a match, that's great. See if they're still going to be doing a match while this is going on. Although if they're matching what you put in, they're probably not going to be matching if you're putting in nothing, right? I know it sounds silly, but that's what it is. But see if they've discontinued the match and if you're still getting a paycheck. If not, consider rolling over your 401k into an IRA, whether it's a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA, IRA, that's an individual retirement account. Now, you can only take a certain portion of your 401k and do that and roll that over into something. However, if you are laid off or unemployed, you can roll the whole thing over into one of those. The important thing is that you still maintain a retirement account. You don't let it just kind of be floating up there with the benefits administrator from your company, but make sure that it is still intact. And I really strongly suggest that if you are laid off or if you've been terminated, do what you can to take the money out of that 401k as soon as you can, because we really have no idea what's going to happen in this world, right? We don't know how many employers are going to be out of business, who are going to be closing their doors completely, and who's going to know what happens to your cash, right? And your 401k is your money, so I want you to get your money. If you are vested, meaning you've been collecting it in the employer match for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever goes along with your plan, then you'll get the company match money also. If not, you'll at least get the money that you've contributed to it, and you can convert it or turn it or roll it over into another retirement account. Now, I'm not a CPA and I'm not a financial advisor certified. I'm just somebody who's been around and has talked to a tremendous number of experts on these things. And this is one of the things that they are advising. And I, of course, am also advising you too. I haven't done this Facebook Live too much, so I'm not quite sure where to look on my phone here. I don't want to look at myself because I know if I look at myself, it looks like I'm not looking at you. So anyway, the next point, and the next item, let's see, okay, if you rolled over a previous 401k from a previous employer into your current 401k that you've got with your current employer, if you are still working there, you can take that money out 100% anytime you want. Now, a lot of people don't know this. They think that it's probably trapped in that same 401k, and they added to it, right, with the previous employer's 401k. That's not the case. That's not true. You actually can take that money from a previous 401k that you rolled over into your new one, and you can take that out right now, get that cash in your hands, and here's one of the cool things too, no penalty and no tax hit, because that was a previous 401k, which means that it's already yours, right? It's not in that new plan. It's not part of the stuff that you're getting right now. So check with your CPA again before you do that, but I'm pretty sure that you'll be able to get that money out and get that into your hands. And that's the main thing, right? You need to have cash to be prepared. And it's not just me, you know, everybody says that, and I don't care if it's Susie Orman or Dave Ramsey or any number of other experts and gurus. They always say you have to have an emergency fund, which means you have it in cash. So I'm trying to help you to be prepared for whatever the next month or 2 or 3 or 4 months might bring you by having some cash in your hand. So back to the life insurance thing. Or actually, if you are diagnosed with COVID-19 or have experienced financial hardship from quarantine or from layoffs or reduced hours or furlough between now and December 31st of 2020, or you have to quit work because of a lack of child care, you might still be taxed if you take it out from your current 401k, but there'll be no penalty. And normally there's a 10% penalty on any kind of early distribution that you take from your 401k or your IRA. And I'm not sure about IRAs, again, check with your accountant, but with your CPA, you can definitely find out if you can take any money out from your 401k that's your current 401k. And if you have a little tax, that's okay, but you can actually have that tax deferred and paid over the next 3 years. It doesn't have to be paid all in one lump sum right now. A lot of the times, a 401k administrator will take out your tax in advance of giving you the distribution, but we're in a different world now, right, because of COVID-19, and you can potentially get that money out right now and defer your taxes over 3 years, plus, this is key, not paying that 10% penalty. Okay, sound pretty good? I think that's pretty good. And you can do that up to $100,000, and then have it be deferred. And you might be able to take out or pay what you take out into an IRA and then even recoup the tax fundings that you're going to be paying, right? So that's another way of doing things when the tax is paid. Of course, I want you to try not to dip into your retirement account and your money, but check to see how solvent your company is, you know, and then make a decision based on that. Because the main thing is for you to protect yourself. That's what I am looking for, is for you to protect yourself and be prepared. Now, a lot of people know about the SBA Disaster Loans, right? The Economic Injury Disaster Loan. You can apply for that if you are self-employed, if you're a gig economy person, like an Uber driver or a Lyft driver, if you do DoorDash, if you do TaskRabbit, any of the things that are you as an independent contractor, or if you, like me, are a real estate investor, you can actually also apply for this because even if you are an individual and you don't have an LLC, the cool thing is you don't have to have an LLC. You are a sole proprietor, right? So you can still apply for that, and you can get a loan up to $10,000, which actually is forgivable and makes it a $10,000 grant. That's pretty cool, huh? You can have that and the $10,000 to keep you going and to keep yourself going. You can actually also apply for unemployment. Now, in the past, that was unheard of. Independent contractors and people who did not have an employer and a job and somebody who was paying into the unemployment insurance fund for your state, you couldn't claim unemployment. but now you can. But the cool thing is that this SBA loan, this disaster loan, again, is called EIDL, Economic Injury Disaster Loan. Go to sbc.gov/EIDL, or I think you can go to sba.gov and then look up the disaster loan. You will find it. It's a very quick 2-page thing to fill out, or I think 3 pages. A lot of them are just check boxes, so it might take you 5 or 10 minutes to do it. Just know what it was that you earned last year and what you might be earning this year if you're unemployed because of coronavirus and you were an Uber driver or Lyft driver or somebody else who lost their income and their gig because of not being able to do whatever it was you were doing. You can actually file for unemployment retroactive to January 27th. And that's pretty amazing in itself, right? Because that gives you an extra couple of weeks based on when it was that they started all the quarantining and stopping and shutting down businesses. Okay, so next thing, yeah, there's lots of information, lots of YouTubes and lots of webinars that you probably have seen. I have a dear friend, and she had one with her chief financial officer about doing that very thing and applying for the SBA disaster loan. Well, the cool thing, too, is that there's another thing called the PPP, which is Payroll Protection Program. That's another one that is under the CARES Act that was signed into law recently by the president, put together by the Congress for the $2 trillion. And I think it's maybe 500 million or 400 billion, that is going to employers. Now, this PPP is done through your local bank, and big banks are swamped. I know Chase right now still doesn't have anything in place because they're overwhelmed. It's kind of like during the recession in 2008 when banks didn't have departments for foreclosures and short sales, and then they had to hurry up and get them all done. So now they're doing that for this PPP program. Again, check with your accountant on this because he might really be able to help you with it. I suspect that most of you have not had an accountant call you to find out if you need some help on this. But you want to check into it. Check again on the SBA.gov website, and you can find out about how you can get anywhere between $20,000 and $2 million for your company to cover payroll, your utilities, your rent for your office, your cable. You have to have a telephone if you have an office, parking, whatever it is, because that's probably not going to go away. There's a lot of different things that you have as an expense that you probably are aware of, or maybe you're not. This is going to be looked at compared to your Schedule C from your tax return. And they're going to look at what those expenses are and the expenses that you're claiming and asking for this grant, this PPP program grant money up to $2 million, just for $20,000. That's pretty significant anyway, because there are a whole lot of expenses that don't go away, right? Your office rent doesn't go away. Your telephone bill doesn't go away. Your employees, if you're paying health insurance, that's not going away. Check into that. We're going to do that, especially for the self-employed. Definitely file for unemployment as well. So you're not going to be able to really do the PPP. You're going to be looking at the disaster loan, and unemployment. Now, again, I'm going to go back real quickly to that term life insurance policy that I talked about. You can have it up to $50,000, and that is something that you might be able to tap into, too, because it's term life. Regardless, check into it. Make sure that you have that. See if it is still in place, because I hate to say it, and I don't want to be a downer or a pessimist, but this virus is wicked. It is wicked, and it moves quick, 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 quick. And we have seen stories over and over and over of people who had a cough and a cold. A week later, they're in an ICU, and 10 days later, they're dead. I don't want that to be you by any means. I'm praying and hoping it will not be. But be prepared. Be prepared. Know what you've got for your insurance, for your family, or for your costs that you might incur, funeral costs or any other costs. Check with your employer, because you should have a $50,000 life insurance, term life insurance policy with them as part of your benefit package. It's very standard, and for anybody who's in a managerial or above level, certainly executives, they are definitely going to have that kind of a policy in their pay package and benefits package, or you're going to have that. Okay, so moving on. So let's see, I talked about health insurance already. Here's one of the cool things. If you can't make your premium payment, you can actually defer a little bit or extend. The insurance companies are extending payment deadlines. Again, most of them will waive your exam fees and your copays if it's coronavirus related or COVID-19 related, which is pretty amazing, right? But you want to check on your personal policy with your company, whatever it is, or the exchange that you're on, if you're on that, and see if you can, if you're in a cash crunch, defer some of your premium payments without losing your coverage. Main thing is be prepared. Do not lose your coverage. That is one of the key things you need to have at this moment in time. Please keep your health coverage, whatever it is you can do. But like I said, Blue Cross, Blue Shield, Anthem, Kaiser, tons of the companies are actually waiving or deferring premiums. Doesn't mean you don't have to pay it. It just means that maybe you'll have to pay it later on and you can spread out the payments but not lose your insurance. So please check with your insurance company, check with your home state and any health exchanges that are there and see what you can do regarding your payments. And here's my list of it. Stuff: California, Colorado, Connecticut, District of Columbia, Idaho, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Mississippi, New Mexico, New York, Rhode Island, Utah, Vermont, and Washington. Those are the states that all have exchanges under the Affordable Care Act, and you can get coverage right now without a waiting period. Get it right away, get it reduced and based on your income, which right now is nothing, right? Or next to nothing if you're not in an essential business or if your hours have dropped. Get your coverage now if you possibly can. And take care of yourself. Be prepared and cover your family. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is your mortgage or your rent. There are several banks that are allowing you to make a loan modification, essentially is what it is, if you have a mortgage. And if you are finding it really tough to make ends meet and really tough to make your mortgage payment, call your bank, call your mortgager, and find out if they have a program. You have to do this in advance. You can't just miss a payment because that'll go on your credit report and credit score. Yes, there's a foreclosure forbearance, which means that there's a whole lot of companies, and the government has said that banks are not going to be allowed to evict or foreclose on people during this period of the coronavirus, but we don't know how many months that's going to be. And here's the kicker: that only applies to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac loans. I think it applies to VA loans also, but I'm not so sure it applies to USDA loans, and it definitely does not apply to any hard money loans. So if you're an investor and you have a hard money loan out there, you're not going to have your payments deferred. You're not going to be able to usually to make a loan modification. Those lenders can still foreclose however they want to, right? So make sure that you are aware of what kind of loan you have. And again, call your mortgage servicer, loan servicer, call your bank, whoever it is that you've got that loan with, and make an arrangement to defer your payments or make a payment plan so that you maybe only have to pay half of 50% of what your regular mortgage payment is, or 25% or 75%. The banks are not only willing to work with you, but under this new act, they are kind of required to do that. And Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are government entities, so they absolutely are required to work with the borrowers to make a better payment for you. But again, do it in advance. It might be something that'll only be 4 or 5 payments worth. And again, you still owe the money. It's not like you're getting off scot-free and you don't have to make your mortgage payment. It's just that they're going to put it onto the end of your mortgage instead. Whatever it is that you don't pay and are not able to pay right now. Now also, if you are a renter, there is a restriction in place that is from, well, in California definitely, and I believe that it covers a whole lot of other states as well, where landlords are not able to evict tenants for non-payment of rent right now. Again, don't know how long this is going to be, but it could be for 2 months or 3 months or 4 months. If you can't make your payment, they can't evict you. But be aware of this and be prepared, because at the end of this, when everything and all these forbearances and these waivers go away, you might be on the hook for all those 4 months or 3 months all at once. I don't want you to have to come to that or endure that. That'd be really painful, especially if you have no income and you haven't been making money. So call your landlord, call your company, whoever it is, a property management company, make an arrangement with them in advance. don't just assume that you can not pay or that you can get a forbearance or that you can say, hey, you know, I can't make my payment this month. Would you, you know, just be chill about it and relax? No. You need to take this by your hand and be proactive. Call your property management company, call your landlord, make sure that you tell them that you are aware of the restriction that they cannot evict you during this whole coronavirus thing for non-payment of rent or less than payment of rent, and then make a plan with them, okay? Please be prepared so you still have a place to live. Just remember, you need to document this, document the conversations, and when it is that you talk to the landlord and know that you still have to pay your full rent after this order is lifted. Now next, if you're out of a job, there's no shame in applying for food stamps. In California, and I think in other places it's called SNAP, which is a SNAP Fresh Food Program. Definitely apply for that, or WIC, W-I-C. Lots of states like Illinois, Massachusetts, California, they have these programs. And if you want to keep food on your table, you know, and you can't afford to go buy it, then go ahead and apply for the food stamps. Yes, they're overwhelmed. Yes, there's so many applications that these organizations, these governmental organizations are getting. But you know what? You pay your taxes so that you are also helping to support these social services and these benefits. These are not entitlements unless you want to call it an entitlement that, yes, you've paid taxes into this for the long time, so you are entitled to take advantage of those programs if you need to. So it's pretty easy. Go online to your state and to SNAP or food stamps or WIC, which is food for families with children, and check it out and apply. It's actually pretty quick. What you will get in the mail is a card that's like a debit card. You use it at the grocery store just like you would your debit card, so nobody knows that you are using SNAP, right? And that it's a food stamp benefit that you have. Be prepared. Take care of your family. Take care of yourself. Don't let everything run out. And yes, you can buy toilet paper with SNAP too. With the living situation, just one last thing. Talk to your utility company, because the utility companies are also making arrangements with people, knowing that people are going to have a hard time paying their utility bill. And right now, we know that with the quarantine orders in place in most states in the country, people are online a lot longer. That's electricity, right? And you're on a lot later, and you're watching cable TV a lot longer and a lot later. All of that bumps up your electric bill, all right? It can bump up your electric bill significantly. You may not be thinking that or aware of that, but you need to be aware of it and be prepared for it. So how do you be prepared for it? Well, call your electric company. Call your cable company. Maybe cut back on some of your cable programs for right now until you can afford your package again. Because even though you might be home, really, do you need 200 channels? Maybe you can just get by with Netflix and Hulu and basic TV. It's up to you. It's your choice, of course, whatever it is you can afford. But definitely the electric company and your gas company, I want you to call them and see if you can make an arrangement with them to pay on time, or to basically, what they'll do is lower your monthly payment to a more affordable level. So if your electric bill is normally $100 a month, they may drop it to $50 a month, or maybe a little bit lower. Again, that's deferred to another time when you can pay it back, but you're not going to have to pay it all at once in a lump sum. You can, whatever this money is deferred, like if it's $50, then you have that $50 a month for 5 months. They defer, you owe them $250 in the future, right? But then in the future months, you can spread out that $250 bit by bit in each of your next payments. So, okay, promise me that you'll do that and cover your electric bill. Talk to your utility companies. Talk to your cable company. Talk to your electric and your gas company and other stuff. You can't even talk to your homeowners association. Oh, and a water company. Don't forget that. As a homeowner, you definitely are going to have higher water bills because everybody's going to be home all the time. That's more dishes, and that's more eating, and more showers, and more toilet flushings, and everything else. So be aware, those bills are going to go up. But talk to the company, talk to the water company, and see if you can't make an arrangement on this. Okay? That kind of thing. One of the cool things, HBO is offering a free period. They're offering HBO Go and HBO Now free for the duration of the coronavirus. Not the whole entire package for HBO, and not the 7-day free trial, but there are probably about 20 shows and series and movies that you can watch right now for free on HBO without a subscription. That's pretty cool, and here's a shout out to say, hey, thanks HBO. Really appreciate that. So I've got a few other things that I'm going to be talking about in another one, but this is enough for now. Be Prepared 2020. This is Julie Falen, and Julie Talks Money. I hope you like my page, and I hope you'll come back and watch other videos that I have or check out the YouTube channel, because I'm here to try and make your financial life easier and the financial lifestyle that you want attainable for you. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye, and stay safe.